Here's a psychology fact you're not ready for. Your brain has been lying to you about your problems. That stressful situation you've been worrying about, that conversation you keep replaying in your head, that feeling that something is about to go wrong. A lot of the time, none of it is actually real. Your brain created it. And the worst part? Most people spend years stressing over problems that only exist in their own mind. Psychologists call this catastrophizing. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing why your mind keeps turning small situations into big problems. Your relationships, your confidence, even the way you interpret other people's actions, all of it can be influenced by this one psychological pattern. Think about it. Someone doesn't reply to your message for a few hours. Suddenly, your brain starts asking questions. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? Did I embarrass myself? But in reality, they might just be busy. Your brain didn't wait for the facts. It created its own story. But here's where it gets even worse. Your brain doesn't just create fake problems sometimes. For many people, it does it every single day. Small situations become big worries. Neutral moments become negative assumptions. And before you realize it, your mind is constantly preparing for problems that don't even exist. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. Thousands of years ago, human survival depended on detecting threats as quickly as possible. If our ancestors ignored danger, they didn't survive long. So the brain evolved to follow one rule: assume the worst first. If you heard a noise in the bushes, your brain didn't calmly analyze the situation. It immediately assumed danger, maybe a predator, maybe something that could harm you. That reaction saved lives. But today, that same survival system is still active. The difference is your brain now treats social situations like life or death threats. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. Sometimes the biggest source of stress in your life isn't your job, isn't other people, isn't your situation. It's the stories your mind creates about those things. Your brain doesn't just react to reality. It reacts to the interpretation of reality. And that interpretation is often wrong. This happens because your brain is constantly trying to predict the future. Your mind thinks, if I imagine the worst case scenario, I'll be prepared for it. But the reality is, your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. When you imagine something stressful, your body reacts as if it's actually happening. Your heart rate increases. Your stress hormones rise. Your mind starts scanning for more problems. One small thought turns into another, then another. And suddenly, your brain has created an entire problem that started with a single assumption. Psychologists often describe this as a mental chain reaction. One thought leads to another. And before long, your brain convinces you something bad is happening, even when nothing has actually changed. For example, someone walks past you without saying hello. Your brain might instantly think, they're ignoring me. Then another thought appears. Did I offend them somehow? Then another. Maybe they don't like me anymore. But the reality might be much simpler. They didn't see you. They were distracted. Or they were dealing with their own problems. Your brain didn't wait for the truth. It filled the gap with assumptions. And unfortunately, the human brain tends to fill those gaps with negative possibilities. Here's the truth you've probably been avoiding. Not every thought you have is true. Just because your brain tells you something doesn't mean you should believe it. Your mind is incredibly powerful. But it's also incredibly good at creating illusions. If that realization makes you uncomfortable, good. It means you're starting to notice something most people never question. The real danger isn't that your brain creates problems. The real danger is when you start believing every thought without questioning it. When that happens, imagine problems start controlling real decisions. You might avoid opportunities because you assume you'll fail. You might distance yourself from people because you assume they dislike you. You might lose confidence because your brain keeps replaying worst case scenarios. But none of those outcomes started with reality. They started with a thought. And thoughts are not facts. If you want to break this cycle, start with one simple habit. Question your thoughts. The next time your mind starts creating a stressful scenario, pause and ask yourself one question. Do I actually have evidence for this? Not assumptions, not guesses, real evidence. Most of the time, you'll realize something surprising. There isn't any. Your brain simply filled in the blanks. And once you recognize that pattern, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to every thought your mind produces. You start choosing which ones deserve your attention. Because your brain may be designed to imagine problems, but you are not required to believe all of them. And the moment you understand that, your mind becomes a lot quieter.